Alright, so welcome to Dominion Nocturne, What's in the Box. Now, if you watched my flavor text for the video, you already know that that I replaced about half of the cards in Nocturne, because Nocturne was very fantasy-like, and I like my Dominion to be down-to-earth. And so, if you don't like that I replaced a lot of the cards in this expansion, because maybe the cards I replaced you absolutely loved, then no one's making you watch this video. So you can just go ahead and click on something else. So, but if you're still interested and maybe you want to see how I replace the cards to make it seem, you know, make the ideas that are replaced still sort of work with existing cards, then I would encourage you to continue watching this video. If you like animals, I would also encourage you to continue watching this video, because a lot of the cards I replaced involve animals. I even added a few new cards to Nocturne that weren't in the original game. So there's even some cards here that aren't in the box for Nocturne as well. Now, obviously, one of the hardest things was to actually replace some of the heirlooms. And so it took a lot of effort to kind of replace some of the heirloom cards, for sure. That was one of the biggest challenges I had in this expansion of replacing cards. Because I have gotten used to the fact that I might have to replace one card or two cards here or there in an expansion, but I never had to replace almost the entire box. Now, there are a lot of cards in this expansion that are a fantasy that I ended up keeping, but mostly because I just couldn't come up with a good idea to replace them. And also, another reason why I might have kept some of them was just because it was expensive. So I actually had saved up enough money to buy Dominion Renaissance when it came out. And so I was going to buy Dominion Renaissance. Then a friend decided to go ahead and buy Dominion Nocturne for me anyway, even though I didn't want to get it to begin with. And so I gratefully took the gift, even though I wasn't really happy with getting it, and ended up using all of the money, plus some extra, to replace half of the cards in Nocturne, just to make it with animals involved, because I wanted animals in this expansion. A lot of animals in this expansion. So, that's what I did. I ended up doing it, and, you know, I still like playing with Nocturne a lot. I mean, I like Nocturne more than Prosperity. I like it more than Guilds. I like it more than the base game. I even like it more than Intrigue. But because I don't own Intrigue, I went ahead and just skipped Intrigue anyway, and went on to this expansion next in the line. So, you know, it's fifth from the bottom. Mostly because they didn't put enough animals into the expansion to begin with. Which was like, oh, come on, if you're going to have a night phase, you need some nocturnal animals, at least for the night phase. And they didn't really do that too well, unfortunately. And the one they did it with was a card I didn't want anyway, so I was like, really? Come on. So, anyways, like I said, if that turns you off, and you like Dominion Nocturne as it is, just go ahead and click on something else. No one's making you watch this video. So, but, like I said, if you hated Nocturne, maybe because of the theme itself, then I encourage you to continue watching. So let's get started before my video segment is nearly up. Because it's so hard to upload a video that's longer than 10 minutes. So if it goes 17 minutes, it takes like all day to upload, which is annoying. Alright, so let's get started. We're going to do the heirlooms, and I don't know if we'll get through all 7 of them in this video, but we'll certainly try. Okay, so first we're going to go over the heirloom. So, heirlooms, if you have played Dominion, you know that you start with 7 coppers in the game. But when you play with Nocturne, you might end up replacing some of your starting coppers with one of these heirloom cards instead. And there are actually 7 different heirloom cards. So even though it's not recommended, you could potentially have a game of 7 heirlooms. And that would replace all of your 7 starting coppers. But they don't recommend that. They recommend maybe 3, 4 at the most. And I stand by that. So, what does this one do? Well, it's Lucky Coin. And it's just like a copper. It gives you a copper, basically. It's basically just like a copper. Except when you play this, you gain a silver. That is awesome. I love that aspect. That is one of the reasons why I like this expansion, is because of this heirloom here. Now, with every heirloom comes with a particular action as well. So if you play with the heirloom, you will always play with the corresponding action that goes with the heirloom. I don't know why they did that, but that's how they did that. And so, if you play with Lucky Coin, you are going to play with Fool. And likewise, if you play with Fool, you're going to play with Lucky Coin. Well, what does Fool do? If you aren't the player with Lost in the Woods, take it. Take 3 boons and receive the boons in any order. Now, we're going to go over boons in another video, so we won't go into too much what that does. But here is what you would have. So if you aren't the player with Lost in the Woods, at the beginning of the game, someone's just going to randomly have Lost in the Woods. So at the start of your turn, you may discard a card to receive a boon. Is that worth it? Maybe. Maybe you have an estate in your hand. So if you do, I would definitely discard that estate and receive a boon. So that is definitely a good option. But the action here isn't really my favorite. The Fool is not really... I don't really like the Fool that much. It's not hated. I'll play with it. I enjoy playing with it, but I certainly don't like it as much as a lot of the other actions in this game. But like I said, I love Lucky Coin, and that's why I'm like, well, I guess I'll play the Fool. No pun intended. So, alright. The next heirloom is my most absolute favorite. Both of them actually are. So, Pasture. Once again, it's just like a copper, produces a treasure. But it's also worth 1 victory point per estate you have. So if you start the game with your 3 estates, this is worth 3 points. So don't trash your estates. Now there's another reason why it's important not to trash your estates. And that's because of this card here, the Shepherd. You get an action, and then you discard any number of victory cards, revealing them, and then plus 2 cards per card discarded. That is awesome. So at the start of your turn, you have 2 estates, and you have this card as well. You discard the 2 estates, and you get 4 cards. And then you also have an action. So who knows, you could get another action and play it. It's awesome. It's certainly worth keeping your estates around if you have this out. So totally, totally cool. Totally worth it in my book. So definitely this combo here, this pair here is the best. Probably my favorite heirloom and action that goes with the heirloom. Awesome, awesome. Definitely favorite. This is definitely a reason why I like this expansion. Now, obviously, these 2 cards combined don't really go with the Nocturne theme, but like I said, I love it a lot. And this was definitely a reason why I was like, ooh, I would definitely like to get the Nocturne expansion, was because of these 2 here. And of course, I liked this one too, so, you know. But then, you know, once again, the Fool wasn't really my favorite, or Lost in the Woods, for that matter. So, anyways, that's all I'm going to do for this video. And we'll continue on with the heirlooms in the next video.